Hello, boys and girls. We are now in Unit 3, and this is our second big book. And the name of this big book is called Beetle Bop. And I have something to tell you. If you can read Beetle or Beetles with an S at the end, you'll know how to read most of the words in this book. Anyway, it's written by Denise Fleming. Oh, and I have a story to tell you about beetles. My brother used to catch beetles that were hitting the light in our front porch and feed them to this super huge toad that would come and stand by the light. And maybe my brother was about 8 or 9 years old. And that toad got so huge from eating all the beetles that my brother threw at him. But sadly, one day he never came, and we really think it's because he had a heart attack, because he was so immensely huge from his steady diet of beetles. This says Beetle Bop, and it shows you some beetles. Different kinds of beetles. There's all different kinds of beetles on our planet. They're everywhere, and it's by Denise Fleming. Maybe you've seen some beetles. This book has lots of adjectives to describe the kinds of beetles. Like this says striped beetles, spotted beetles, all over dotted beetles. Like these spotted, all over dotted beetles. We know these beetles as ladybugs. Did you know that ladybugs are beetles? They all have like 6 legs. And they have 3 body parts. This one you can see the body parts 1, 2, 3. Some of them you can't see the body parts as well. Brown beetles, green beetles. I like how the adjectives, if they can, they make them look like the word. Like this is brown, so they colored it brown. This is green, so they colored it green. Brown beetles, green beetles. And let's look. There's a skunk. Skunks love to eat beetles, so he's digging them up with his sharp claws. He's digging them up. He's pulling back the leaves and the dirt to find them. And here's a green one. Here's a brown one. And this one says, not often seen beetles. So maybe they're talking about the grubs of the beetles. I don't know. There's a kind that you're used to seeing, and there's a kind that you're not used to seeing. So those are the not often seen beetles. This says buzzing beetles. And they do make like a buzzing sound. And if you've ever seen them hitting your light on your porch at night. So buzzing beetles, humming beetles. Humming beetles. Steadily drumming beetles. If you've ever have heard of drumming rain on your roof, it's that like steady sound. Well, the sound of beetles at night near your porch, they might have that steady drumming sound. There's more adjectives. Big beetles. Who are they talking about? I think they're talking about this one. Small beetles. Who are they talking about? These. These are small beetles. Crawl up the wall beetles. Have you ever seen a bug doing that? Crawling up a wall? It's like, how do they do that? That salamander, he's there. He probably wants to eat some of those beetles. Chewing beetles, sawing beetles, noisily gnawing beetles. So chewing, sawing, that's what they do with their mandibles, their little choppers, teeth, whatever you want to call them in front. All these words, chewing, sawing, gnawing, are describing how, they make the leaves smaller so that they can eat them. Oh, here's some shape words. Round beetles. Do you see how they made that text interesting? They made it look like round. Round beetles? Who's the roundest? This one's pretty round. Square beetles? Like this one. It's more squarish. It's still round, but less round than this one. Fly in the air beetles. That bird just caught one. Birds like to eat bugs. At least many birds do. There are bark beetles. This is bark. The covering on trees is called bark. Sand beetles. Fill up your hand beetles. Oh my gosh. Is that one of those Hercules beetles? That's a mighty big beetle. I wonder if that person is scared holding that beetle in their hand. I would be afraid of these choppers. Oh, on this page you can tell that the beetles have 3 body parts and 6 legs. So 1, 2, 3. And then for their legs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are their antennae. And these are their choppers, their mandibles. What they gnaw and chew and saw the food with. Oh, here's some water beetles. We talked about them living in bark and in the sand. Well, some of them also live in the water. Diving beetles. Diving means they go under the water. Whirling beetles. They go round and round maybe when they're in the water. Spiraling, swirling beetles. Spiraling and swirling sort of means like they twist and curl around, go sort of downward. Oh, some color words. Look. Blue beetles. Black beetles. Here's a blue one. Here's a black one. Hide in the crack beetles. And they are hiding in the crack. You're a beetle, you're smart. You don't want to be out there on top of the sidewalk or the birds can pick you off really quickly. So it's better just to hide somewhere, and all that you can find is a crack in the sidewalk. Go there. Oh, I love these text features. Look at these adjectives. This one says glowing. If you forget what that one says, just look at how it looks. Glowing beetles. Flashing beetles. That does look like it's flashing. Constantly crashing beetles. This is what I was talking about. They do crash into the lights. They just love the lights so much, they accidentally crash into them. And there's a glowing beetle. Oh, there's a glowing beetle. These are lightning bugs. Lightning bugs are beetles, and they can glow in the dark. And they do flash. When they want their friends to find them, they glow their lights and flash them. It says, beetles flip. Beetles flop. I know that these beetles, glow-in-the-dark beetles, they flip and flop. I used to catch them. I grew up in Texas, and we would play a game at night to see who could catch the most lightning bugs. And you'd catch them in your hand, and they'd be all clicking in your hand because they'd be flipping and flopping around, and then you would stick them in a jar because that was the game. And then we would let them go. Beetles flip. Beetles flop. Beetles fly. Hey, flip, flop, and fly all begin with FL, and FL is a blend. We can hear both the F and the L sound when we blend them. Beetles bop. So they're just moving around, sort of like dancing, a little bop. Okay. Well, I enjoyed reading that. There's so much out there in the world to discover. There's so many beetles that live on our planet. They live in forests, deserts, mountains, and ponds. And it says they come in many different shapes, sizes, colors, and patterns. But all beetles have 3 body segments and 6 legs. And almost all have 2 sets of wings. A front set that protects the second set, which is used for flying. If you've ever caught a ladybug, you can see that they have 2 sets of wings. They keep the ones they actually fly with underneath their spotted upper wings. And then finally it says beetles are one of the largest groups of animals on Earth. Some are pests. That means you don't want them in your garden. Some are friends. That means you do want them in your garden. What kinds of beetles live near you? Well, I know we have ladybugs, and I know we have, we have ladybugs that live near us. What other kinds of beetles have you caught? We have those beautiful jewel green kind of beetles. There's the stink bug beetles, but I wouldn't want to catch one of those. So anyway, maybe you can think of a beetle that you have caught. It was different from the ones that we are used to seeing in Mojave. All right, boys and girls, that was a good book. Toodaloo.